it's not me who creating this. I'm just witnessing and transferring what I'm seeing and delivering to the audience.
Hello everyone, it's Teravarna again, and we are here in Vaibhav Naik's studio in Mumbai, India. And he has just done wonderful paintings. He has just amazing artwork here, and I was very very happy to see what he does, even on digitally. But when I saw it today, it was just blew me away. So we're gonna have a short interview with him and ask him how he does his process and how he goes about creating these beautiful pieces. So hi Vaibhav, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Coming to my
thank you for having me. First of all, can you say a little bit about yourself?
I myself Vaibhav Naik. I born and brought up in Bombay. We are from the coastal region of the Maharashtra,
Okay.
which is almost near to the Goa side. But since I'm born and brought up in Bombay, I'm used to this busy, hectic, and fast-growing life. And I graduated from the JJ School of Applied Art in 2015. And after that, I'm working as a freelance artist, a teacher, and an instructor at a Samsara Academy of Art. And it's been almost 10 years of journey as a freelance artist.
Okay, so the Samsara Academy of Art, where is that again?
It's in Hyderabad.
It's in Hyderabad, okay.
It's
South.
established in 2019. I work as a principal instructor over there.
Okay. So you said you were there for about 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years as a principal instructor?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So what kind of instruction do you like to, what kind of kids do you teach, or is it a college classes?
It's a private atelier. I'll say that it's India's first atelier, which is based on the Renaissance techniques and old masters studies, which is almost like people are maybe heard about all those Florence Academy or Barcelona Academy of Art, which are inspired from the Renaissance techniques, and also where we teach about 1.5 years of drawing and 1.5 years of painting. The ideology behind that art college is to teach people what is the actual knowledge or information need to be understand before entering to any sort of understand about the art itself. We teach them technically, but as well as we taught all the concept how we're going to use them in a professional life, because it's not about an academic training, it's also about exploring as an artist and exploring as a human being, because at the end of the day we are not just an artist or a painter, we as a human being, and how we need to understand the cultural thing about anything, and it may be cultural related to this place or maybe cultural related to any field. We need to understand then. So that will be a good initiative which is taken by the Samsara director Ayush Agarwal. He's from the Hyderabad itself.
Okay.
He get a nice initiative, and then I joined him so I'm working with almost in 4 years, and it's been a nice experience for me also, because we are dream about all those kind of concepts, teaching or maybe schooling or some sort of atmosphere which is totally new, and we dream about all those things. My journey is totally changed just because of that right education and right people. So when I come across my first teacher, who's turned my whole life, as a Vilas Sonape, he's from the US, but he's majorly origin from the Bombay itself. He introduced me to the right amount of quality, what is the importance of a teacher, what is the importance of a guru, and because the teacher and the guru are two different things. But when you have those kind of legends in your life, the whole output will be changed, and the confident level change, and you will be more clear, because he helped you to achieve what you actually wanted. You manifested about it. Because when I was child, I was just thinking about I was cutting those posters from the newspapers about the painting, and I keep collecting them. And I went to the art colleges, which is the JJ School of Art, which is good, which is like the most art college. But during my final year, when I introduced to the right amount of knowledge, I realized that even that a 1 week of workshop with the basic information, it's feel like I was like blown away by this information, the teaching skills.
Right.
So
got it. Okay.
when I say right now I'm teaching over here, my main inspiration is my first guru in the art field is like Vilas Sonape. I feel so overwhelmed about when I just being with him as an assistant for maybe 3 years, and I feel blessed every day. Whenever I teach, I feel blessed. This is not me. This is my teacher's blessings, which are just coming from my mouth.
Right.
I feel good about it. But
so was he also like did you adopt his style or
no?
Was the style the same?
No. I used to work in the same style.
Right.
Because the concept, when you're learning under some sort of teacher or a guru, obviously you have that kind of influence in your painting. It's like the same as you're walking like your father, your features look like your mother, because they're genetics.
Right.
But in art culture or any guru shishya parampara or teacher students, or maybe disciples things,
right,
you have that impression in you. And when I think that when you have those kind of kind of similarities between you and the teacher, it means you're following the path of your teacher.
Right.
And when you realize that this is as same as my teacher, and then you change.
Right.
You derive from that.
Right.
But first you have to walk on path.
Right. Exactly. First.
And it's going to be look like your inspiration. And I never say that my artwork is original, because every day when I woke up, when I see something, everything is inspired. It's not me who creating this. I'm just witnessing and transferring what I'm seeing and delivering to the audience.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm not making that it's my thing. It's not about an ego of your own self. I'll suggest I'm just a medium. I'm just what I look at an object, and I'm just looking at an object and try to understand what I feel about it, and then I tell the story about it, which is I majorly right now I'm working on my visual poetry concepts.
Okay.
So when you look at any objects, any things, how I see them, how I wanted to deliver them in front of the audience.
Yeah. So how did you start your art journey? Like you said, like you were used to, cut pieces of, artwork from newspaper.
Yeah.
Right? How do you start?
My biggest inspiration is in my house, my bigger brother.
Okay.
He's the most first introductions of an art.
Okay.
So he did a nice poster of a good environmental project, and he did a nice job, nice drawing, and then I inspired. This is a nice thing to learn about it, and my mom used to tell me that you should learn from your bigger brother, older brother, how to draw this, and then it started involving about art.
How old were you?
I don't remember that much, but I realized that I have all the memories I remember related to the drawing. Other thing is vanished.
Right.
But then I used to, because back then there was lots of articles related to the painting, upcoming shows used to be free. So I used to cut down them and then collect them. I used to copy them in my sketch, with the pen from the back side, all the cartoons, the super bikes I used to draw. And during my 7th or 8th standard, I heard about some painters. He's a legendary painter from India. He's a SM Pandit. He's a mythological painter, and I heard about he's painting the mythological picture. He used to meditate all those things, and he has some sort of siddhi and all those things. He used to see those things, and then he painted it. That hits me back then, and I decided I'm going to be a painter one day, and realistic painter especially. I wanted to do the portraiture of a figurative related to the mythology, or maybe a beauty about the male or female aesthetic they have.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it's going round and round and round. I'm going for I had a good marks in the 10. I went to the science. Then my father wanted me to be an engineer. Then I dropped my engineering entrance, and then I went back to back. So that time I realized, when you are that innocent thought, which is the seed, if you have that seed in yourself and you keep thinking about it, automatically the whole stories goes around that, and all the obstacles might get cancelled.
So Vaibhav, you mentioned that you went to art school. So you also mentioned a little bit about your inspiration. So has that been your inspiration, like your elder brother and later on your teacher?
My first inspiration is my elder brother, and it goes to anything that related to the visual art. It's inspiring me. Like any kind of competition, like small competitions, like a small new crayon, the palettes, they inspire me, or anything like anything with the visual, it's inspiring. Like it can be a biological general also. Like you have to draw those plants and all.
Right, exactly.
It's interesting. Like anything, I used to spend like when you're done with your exams, people like students usually go to the playgrounds.
Right.
I used to draw. Yeah. I used to start planning from second last paper and thinking about what I'm going to draw, and I was to draw like whole day I'm drawing, whole day. And then on my birthday, I used to take off from my school and I used to draw and paint.
Okay.
And my mom is like, okay, it's your birthday, you can enjoy what you want. But I really like of being connected. I sometimes feel blessed that everything is working smoothly for me. Right. Like getting inspiration, then you're going away from the painting, then you're again going back to the painting, commercial, and then painting. So life is going away from the painting and again come back to the painting. Because after the graduation also, I used to work as a freelancer designer, like a mural artist, like a commercial job.
Okay.
But when I realized that I have to focus on one thing, and then I working on myself as a painter, not as a commercial artist. But that helps me, and that I realized that you have to be surrender to the process in order, and you might get distracted. Even it's related to with art, you might get distracted. Like because the commercial part of it is just a maya for you, which will distract you from your main deity, also maybe a main motive, and that's meant you for a distraction only. And now as an artist, you have to be clear about all those commercial aspects. You want money or you want art, because both cannot be same. If you have art, you can have the money also, but you have the money, not necessarily
you will have art. Exactly. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
So you have to be balanced.
Right.
And it will automatically like keep pulling you back and gives you a nice desire. What you I want money, I want fame, I want this, I want this. But then back then I feel this happened just because of the good blessings of your mom and dad, or maybe your guru or teachers who help you to understand what is art is all about. And during my education also, I'm not aware about what will be my future in terms of artist. I'm going to be teacher or not. But the biggest inspiration who turns my whole life in a professional, that time I realized this is the question I need to solve, and then I get an answer without telling. So I was assisting my teacher, as I told you before, Vilas Sonape, and he's working and giving a demo during the workshop, and he used to work a lot. Like he committed only for he had the workshop which is committed to the 10 to the 6 in the evening, but he used to work after that also, and he gave the extra lectures and the demos. And that time I realized how he passionate about the thing he's doing. And that day I realized I got an answer for something, the answer I didn't remember. But got the point, this is what I want. Because when I look at my teacher from the down perspective, like, and I look at his, like, her into the eye, I realize like the eyes they're passionate about thing. I need to understand this passion. I need to surrender this way, which is equivalent to understand what is the art is, what is the life is. So that time I'm clear, like whole thing is clear. And then I start, no, I wanted to do this only. Even I'm not successful, I'm financially or maybe physically, but I'm going to do this.
So what's your process like? Like when you start with you mentioned this is, for instance, this painting is done in what again? Like
charcoal, watercolor. As I'm talking about this painting, this painting.
Yeah.
So I started with the basic concepts of the drawing, because we teach about the basics and you have to stick to the basics. You just have to start with the basic, what we already learn about, you know about it. So I started with the drawing, and in order to achieve the higher result, I slightly twisted the process, but which is also connected to the base.
Okay.
So is that you're doing the first layer, second layer and fourth layer by layer things. And when you get advanced, you can easily jump from 1 to the 4th, to the 6th, to the 8th, in order to achieve and make it faster. So right now I'm working in the mixed media, as a drawing as a main medium, not as just for a subject, but as my visual language. And I mix different types of like acrylic, gouache, some sort of inks, sometimes watercolor just to tone the paper. And I use
this one on canvas. How did you work on it? Like, is this oil or?
No, it's a prime canvas. I started as a drawing, as a medium, and then I painted over them in multiple layers of charcoal, wet charcoals, watercolors, and some layers of acrylics. The final layer is acrylic.
So watercolor, how did you do watercolor on canvas?
It's like a flow. Like after it dries, it's become a part of
Okay. So that way, because it doesn't really stick to it, right? And then you did acrylic on top of it. And then is there charcoal also?
Yeah. So somewhere I left this area dry charcoal, and you can see that there are paints. This area is covered with the paints and all this.
So this is a completed one, right?
No,
or no, it's
working.
Not. It's in work in progress. Okay, got it. Okay. So you're not going to leave it as like how it is now. So you have still charcoal on top of the acrylic,
somewhere
so you have several layers.
It depends on what kind of effect you want. You want some sort of dry effect, or you want, because at the end of the day, no one is going to care about what kind of effect, how you create this effect. But as a personal, as an artist, I want something to be achieved with this medium, so I use it.
Right, okay.
Because end product is also necessary. Like after doing all those experiments, you have to make product output in a final stage. And get to the final stage, do whatever you want, just make it final.
So a lot of these paintings I observed, like, is either in black and white or monochrome, or like very like toned down, like almost no color. Is that what you do? Is that what you like or no? Okay.
Because my teacher is more about the color. He's almost near to the colorist. I feel that he's almost near to the colorist, but he doesn't talk about all those concepts.
Right.
But he's more about the color. After that, I join in another art teacher.
Right.
He's not an art teacher, but he's a very well-known maestro from the Indian industry. So his work is totally different. My first teacher is totally academic, highly render objects. Second teacher is all about bold. He's also doing like portraits, like big patches, big strokes. He's also working on the landscapes.
What's his name?
Vijay Asrekar. And abstract paintings. So his approach is totally more expressionism, or more impressionist, almost near to the look. Like sometimes we compare his work with the Russian artist. So the first art teacher was more about the European culture. Second one is more about the Russian kind of approaches. And the third, again, the Ayush, because I went back to the Samsara Academy. Again, I go introduced to the drawing and the basics. So I invest my time on the drawing. That's why at the current stage, my majority of the work looked less chromatic, but I was used to do colorful also.
Okay.
And then this is my recent work after the whole show, which is more about the colorist. But I'm going to balance again. I wanted to explore each and every concept about what are the importance of the tonalist approach, what are the importance of the colorist approach, and then I'm going to think about it, how I'm going to use tone as well as color.
Right.
In order to.
Vaibhav, you spoke about the process. So you actually do the sketches first, right? You start with the sketches.
Yes.
Usually you have like for instance, this one or that one. You have the model in front of you.
Yeah. Yes.
And then for long sessions, you actually switch to photographs.
So whenever I have a concept in my mind, I do a small studies, like a bunch of composition studies. I'll gather all those informations about the inspiration, how I'm going to work on this, what kind of visual poetry I wanted to put it on. Majorly I'll take inspiration from the old masters like Renaissance and all those things. But I do the preliminary studies, and then I arrange the model, do the smaller studies like a head study or just to memorize the shapes.
Right.
So I memorize the shapes and take the different shots, and then I gather all those information and then decide which is necessary in order to picturize your expression. So it cannot be, I won't say that it's a photogenic and I'm just doing it, it's hair like this, I'm going to copy. No, it's not about the copying. It's all about the design. So this is the concept we taught in the academy also. It's all about the design that's going to express your feeling or maybe expression, which is coming from the different perspective, your experience about the subject, your visual library that you have in your mind, your craftsmanship that you have a control on it, and what you learn from your experience or maybe teacher and all those things, which is what is necessary to complete your image. Like over here, I'm showing this picture is more about the facial expression. So I'm not concerned about the folds over here, how it's getting lost, or maybe even the strokes of the hair. They're just in order to convey the rhythm in the figure. They are not copying from the actual photographs. And when you have those memories, so I did multiple studies of each and every model, like almost more than 3 to 4 studies, portrait studies from a different angle. And when you are connected to the people, that will be easier for you to portray them. That is where I'm working right now, where whenever I wanted to express about something, like when I'm talking about my recent project, which is inspired from the Urdu poetry or a literature or some sort of poetries, where I need a character who write the poetry or related to the poetry. So obviously I have those images which are not a poet, but they are inspired from the poet. They like the poetry. And we used to discuss. So they are not, I won't treat them as a model. So my show is not only my show. It's like a movie. I'm talking about my thought. I'm sharing my thought to the other people's, which are also as like-minded. So the model right now you're looking at, she's more into the filmy kind of thing. She like the poetry, she like the dialogues. So I characterize her like a heroine only from the movie. And the guy, he look like a poet. He liked the poetry. And every day he used to tell me one shairi, which is an Urdu version of it. And this is how it happens. So you have to be initially connected with your model in order to picture, in terms of picture making. You cannot just start with the random model and you have to talk with them. You have to understand what kind of feeling is going to be like coming from that particular individual. because each and every individual have some sort of aesthetic, some sort of emotion which is slightly higher. Like someone is more poetic, someone is slightly more melancholic, some is more cool kind of thing, some is look cool but emotionally it's attached to some sort of soil and all that. And as an artist you have to look through beyond the body. So I'm not picturizing the actual outer beauty, I'm thinking about the inner, who are they in a real life.
Right. So like for instance, this painting, I mean, how long does it take? Like for instance, those paintings.
And the average time depends, because I'm not working like 12 hours a day. I work 3 to 4 hours on each artworks. It takes around 3 to 4 months for a bigger projects, depending on the other my responsibilities and other things. But average, when I start with the painting, I tried to visualize it, manifest it, how I'm going to make that painting. But during the process, you may come across some good books, good inspirations, good visual library. You have introduced to some nice teachings, or maybe some good teachers come to you and tell you something else. That might slightly change the overall visual of an painting. And that I think that the whole painting not physically done in a 4 month, but mentally is done.
Sure, got it. So this one, for instance, these two, what material is this? You said it's charcoal and watercolor and gouache, right?
Gouache.
So what is the is that on paper?
Yeah, I make the paper pasted on the aluminum composite panel. So whenever I make a wash on top of that, it doesn't buckle.
I was going to ask you. Okay, so that's why it doesn't buckle. Yeah. Because how do you? So you pasted it before you started?
Yeah. I make it like a canvas board. So, and I use a good quality paper and good quality materials.
How do you stick it on, like
with the glue? Nice archival glue you can use.
And this is Canson paper, or
it's an Arches paper, cold press paper. You can use for a pencil. I use hot press paper. For a charcoal, I use so I work with a specific paper. So because I wanted to think about the archival quality of the medium also.
Sure.
Because as a client or as a normal people, they have some misconception about the deteriorating quality of a drawing. So I invested my time in research about the papers, and also guided by my other artists like Ayush or maybe other peoples about the material things. That also taught in the academy also, where we learn how we're going to improve the archival quality of the paintings. That's why we use a good quality Canson, like good quality paper, canvas, or maybe a mediums also. So whatever canvas right now we are using in the academy, it's Caravaggio, or maybe we brought it in from the outside of the.
So you imported canvas.
Yeah, imported canvas.
And so you mentioned earlier something to do with your inspiration from Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan. Can you explain that again?
One of my college mates introduced me to the Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Qawwali. Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan is a well-known poet as well as the performer in terms of vocalist from the Pakistan.
Right,
and he has a slightly, people think about divine in his voice as well as whatever he writes about it. So he writes about not only the love and affection about the female aesthetic, or maybe about the love in between the two human, like male and female candidate. It's beyond something that, which is, I feel that it's about the divine love. And whenever he writes something or he sings something about a female, it seems like he's doing a portrait. He's explaining about each and smaller details about it, and he's comparing all those details with the nature, which is a good thing. So one day I was just going through the new concept of the reels, and everyone is connected to the reel. And when I come across the one Qawwali from the Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, and I was like blown away, which is another than the Kali Kali Zulfe. And then I realized I need to work on this concept of an actual poetry and make them a visual poetry. And I start researching about that. I think about there are everything is there. The Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan in my life from my college days. But there are something that hits you. I call them instincts.
Right.
And if you're aware about those instincts, everything start changing. And then I start working on this concept. And before starting my actual journey, solo show preparation, I already started working on the individual projects. And then I gather all those things and make the whole show.
Okay.
Yes. But the visual poetry, like I really like to, I won't read that much. I'd like to listen to the poetry because when someone is narrating you the poetry, there is another
dimension to it. Yeah, of course.
Because it has a nice voice.
Yeah, and especially if the maker, the one who wrote it, the poet is doing it, then it's his feeling getting transformed into it, right? Yeah. So, so is there a particular medium you like? I mean, mixed medium can also be a medium, but do you like mixed medium more than anything else, or is there charcoal or watercolor, something that you like?
Depend on the situation.
Okay.
Sometimes I totally work with the only oil also. I really like the individuality of an material. If I wanted to talk more about the impart to things and the more maturity in the painting or the luminosity about the painting, I like the oil colors. When I wanted to work with the fearless or maybe more distractive way or maybe lost and found way, I really like the drawing as a medium.
Right.
When I'm talking about more control way of doing it in terms of process. So if I wanted to do 1 hour session and then I wanted to enjoy the rest of the session, I can do it in a drawing. But when I started the painting, you cannot have those breaks.
Right.
When you started, you have to finish it.
Right.
And that is going to be slightly more stressful for you.
And that is which medium?
Oil.
Oil, okay, yeah.
So when you start with the oil session, so when I work with the oil, you have to start from the finish, you have to continuously work. So that might be maybe 4 hour, 5 hour continuous session. But in drawing, you can left anytime.
Right, yeah.
So individually, I really enjoy what kind of effect I want, and dependent on priorities, I change the medium. I really like them. But for me, everything is on the top notch.
Right, okay. So you use the best quality.
Yes.
And do you ever work with acrylic or no?
Yes.
You do also work with acrylic.
So before this, I did a show, which is a plein air show. I did lots of traveling. Before the studio painter in a portraiture, I used to be an outdoor plein air painter. My major inspiration was Van Gogh. I went through the biography of Van Gogh through a nice converted Hindi or Marathi version of my mother tongue converted book of Van Gogh. That time I realized that when you go actually outside and paint, that's a real landscape. Whatever you paint inside, it just being nice air condition or maybe a nice light source. But when you go outside, everything is keep changing, and you have to be spontaneous, and you have to be like physically and mentally strong in order to capture the sense. And that's my bigger part of my life. I was just like a plein air painter. I was to work with the watercolors. Then I did 2 watercolor shows, 1 acrylic show, which is a plein air show, and I did 1 oil painting show. Then this one is a charcoal.
Right. Okay. Switching gears a little bit. So I know, like, you've started from a very middle class background, right? You described before. So what are the challenges that you face? I'm pretty sure you've faced challenges, especially living in India. And being a middle class family, going into art, which is not very usually respected, right? It's not very respected. People want you to be a doctor or an engineer, right? Usually. So how did you, what kind of challenges did you face, and how did you overcome
the basic challenge is that in a middle class family, your parents want something like they want nothing bad for you. They are only thinking about my children's future has to be good financially.
Exactly.
More than mental or physical health, they want your financially, you have to be strong. And they are not against the art, but at that time also, when they are on the hype of your settlement, you're also totally immature, and that's become a contradictory statement for the both in the family. I wanted to do the art, and your parents will no, you have to do something for your money. And then the more you get mature, you automatically understand they just want you to be nice and settled people, like other people. Because when we say doctor, they don't want us to be a doctor for a treatment, doing the like social work and all.
Right, exactly.
They want you to be doctor or an engineer, because doctor has a good money.
Good money. Yeah.
Engineer has a good respect also.
Yeah.
But they never seen or come across, because we don't have any artist in our family.
Right.
And then that time I was slightly struggling. We have some sort of conflict with my family also. I try to explain that because I take my own responsibility from the second year financially. So whatever I wanted to invest in terms of material, I do it, the freelance works. I used to work with my senior students, or may sometimes the teacher, in order to earn the money. And that's where I find that if you wanted to be an artist, you have to be independent,
right? And
you have to be earned by yourself, and at the same time you have to educate. The moment when I introduced to the good education and the right people, that time I realized that you have to invest your time. First, you have to invest your money also.
What did you like? You're one of our long-term artists, and you won artist grant for $500, and then $300 for the portrait first prize. Yeah. And my question is, what do you think about Teravarna?
Yeah,
what's your
a great opportunity for especially Indian people, because as an Indian artist, as youngsters or maybe an emerging artist, that is the nicer and the cheapest, I would say cheapest platform to get into the international market. Because when you explore or maybe you promote them on your social media, everyone in the world know about, there was an artist from the India who won the grant or who won the first. And what I feel about it, you're not biased about the maybe country or maybe people or maybe style of rendering. You just encourage all kind of art, like digital, because you have the mediums, different kinds of subject like water, animal, and it's not like that you're only promoting this particular kind of style, like only photogenic or maybe a realistic. You're just promoting everyone who is deserving it. And you're also teaching them a patience, because you're giving opportunity every month. It's not like once in a year you have to wait for that competition and you're getting win. The chances of getting win, it's 100, like 10% in 100. It's not like that. You have to be there. You're giving an opportunity every month in every subject. So it's not, if you're working, like I won in a water category also. I won in a figurative category, abstract category, portrait category, and the grant, because and you offered me nice scholarships. You also promoted me, and then you're here also in the studio. And just because of you gave those opportunity to me in a smaller amount, because when I pay for the price, like the entry fee, it's almost, for me it's lesser. Even it's in dollar. I feel that it's like achievable for me to invest it. If you're a good artist, and you if you're a good artist, you know that because you're giving almost prize to the almost more than 50 people.
We used to give well more than 100 people. Now it's almost,
because, and the least amount.
Right.
I really like that concept because you're not only picking up the topmost, the cherry on the cake. You're also giving the base as an importance, and you're presenting all those artworks on the website, on the your Instagram site, which is good. Like after your competition, my whole brand will change in India just because of me. Because everything comes from the international market, which totally changed. But I really like the concept of monthly competitions, the smaller amount of exhibitions, and you're giving attention to all kind of artists.
So did actually is it true that that you actually, like, when you say your brand value changed? I mean, were you approached by more people when you won, or like were you like more popular, or?
Yeah. So it's not about the prize money. It's not about the brand value. It's all about building your resume.
Right.
That in that whole year of from 24 to the 25 or 23 to the 24, what I'm doing, I'm attending all the competitions. It's a nice challenge as an artist also to explore your mediums, to explore your subjects.
Is there anything that you want Teravarna to do for you that we are not already doing? Because this is an honest question, because we like to learn from our artists to how to help them more. Because we are trying 100 different things, but we're trying different things, and we don't know if it's going to succeed or not, and how art is going to really be beneficial or not. So, like for instance, this interview, is going to help artists and really spreading the name. But like this, if there's anything that you feel that you felt before, maybe or feel now, that Teravarna can do for you, and we are willing to listen.
I really like the concept of monthly, but it will be great if we have the bigger competitions, maybe an annual competitions with the bigger exposure, where might be the seriousness of from the artist perspective will be changed, because the one artist who won all the categories awards or maybe grants, what will be next from
next?
So there has to be slightly level up, maybe a second level, third level for like who already achieved maybe a slightly more. It's kind of shortlisting the artist, and there will be another competitions for a higher category, maybe higher things, and if it does well. We will have a nice physical exhibition somewhere in a subsidies or maybe in European countries, or maybe travel shows, because that helps to bring both the cultural as well as the financial side of an artist. But I really like the concept of monthly, because as soon as people get bigger in terms of gallery, you don't think about the smaller people or the youngsters, and you're taking care of the
emerging artists. Like that's what we actually try to,
like the starting seeds.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of people there's a lot of talent if you see our competition. So one of the reasons, there's 2 or 3 points I would like to make so that everyone knows too. That one is that the reason we give out so many prizes, a lot of people say that why do you give out so many prizes, you should give out only 3 or 4 prizes. A lot of artists told us that. But the reason we do that is because after 3rd or 4th, there's a lot of artists who are very talented. And it's very difficult to really. So we think that it's better if we acknowledge as many as we can, as many as we can support. Obviously, we can't support more than we can. But we try to do that. So that's the reason we try to do that after 1st, 2nd, 3rd prize, like to support many artists. That's one thing. The other thing is, as far as the physical shows go, we've now a regular feature on LA Art Show. We're going back. And in Budapest, we have a show now Art Bias that we are hopefully going to regularly have. So that's another thing.
I went through those kind of things.
And then there's like other European shows, and even in India, we are planning on doing that. Like in shows in like Jambi Art Gallery and other art galleries. So if you do that, then hopefully we'll have the Indian crowd, because I know dollar, and not only in India, other developing countries, dollar is a problem. Like the conversion rate is so high, so we want to give it in a way where in India people can afford it. I mean, in a level where people can afford it. So there's many Indian artists who are not rich or who cannot afford this, or who feel it's a risk for them. The last thing is, you mentioned about the exposure, more exposure. So we now have an Elite Plus program where we guarantee the artist to be on first page of Google. So we actually do SEO, like search engine optimization.
Okay.
We do the keywords. So once first someone looks up Vaibhav Naik, yeah, you'll find yours in the first 1 or 2 or 3 in Google ranking on search. So we are doing this. We just started this a couple months ago. So yeah, I mean, if you're interested, talk to us. Yeah, and yeah, we can definitely do that. And we'll try to make it in a way better. I mean, we are trying all the time, and then we'll definitely try to have this annual competition. And we've already started talking about it. So we'll definitely, and hopefully you'll be again first, second, third, one of the top ones. So really wish you. So thank you again
Thank you.
And this is. Vaibhav Naik from Teravarna, presenting Vaibhav Naik from Mumbai, India. One of the greatest artists. Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.